directly related to these police layoffs. But now this is a little talk about something political. By political, I mean a vote of the people did something. In 2011, we shared with this community that there was a traffic program, the camera program, and it was put on the ballot. And we shared with the community that if those traffic cameras were done away with, that East Cleveland would face some dire financial consequences. That we would have to lay off police, we would have to lay off other people who provide valuable services. We made a commitment that if the voters of East Cleveland passed and let the traffic cameras remain in East Cleveland, that we would not face police layoffs. That we committed to, and that we have upheld. There is a rumor, there is some talk, that now these police layoffs, a year and a half later, represent the mayor going back on his word. Because this community, you, trusted me, quite frankly, that if you allowed those traffic cameras to continue operating in our city, that we would not lay off police. I want to let you know that this police layoff, and this is part of the reason why we've gone through this lengthy explanation, this police layoff does not have to do with traffic cameras. From what we've shown you, from the documents that you've seen, this police layoff is solely due to a 25% cut in the city's police department budget by the city council. That is why the police have received layoff notices. And the good news, it's changeable. That can change. But I just want to run down some quick numbers. The traffic camera program was and is a program that enforces laws, and there's a revenue component to it. Everybody knows that. It generates and has generated millions of dollars for the city of East Cleveland. It was a program where this company owns the cameras, installs the cameras, operates the cameras, issues citations. That's what that company does. Own the cameras, control the cameras, operate the cameras, issue citations. That's what the company does. When people paid those tickets, the money was supposed to come to the city of East Cleveland. East Cleveland was supposed to pay no costs. All we were supposed to do before I became mayor was receive the money. Once East Cleveland received the money, it was to split the money with the camera company that owned and operated and issued citations. Everybody understand that? Does that sound like a good deal?
No.
Yeah, it sounds like a good deal.
No,
they do all the work.
Sounds like a horrible
East Cleveland collects all the money, and then East Cleveland gives half the money to the camera company. It was simple. In a program like that, the city should never, ever have owed the camera company anything. Everybody understands that, right? And I'm about to tell you just the craziest thing. Not because I'm crazy. Well, maybe some think I am. But because the situation is crazy. Under that situation, the city should never have incurred a debt to the traffic camera company. But before I became mayor, East Cleveland took a program where there should never be any debt to the traffic company and created about $2 million worth of debt to that traffic company. And I'll tell you how. Many citations were issued. Many of you know that. Many citations, after being issued by that camera company, those people paid the city of East Cleveland. East Cleveland, once it collected all that money, was supposed to split it with the traffic camera company. Now that I've described it again, many of you are beginning to figure out how we got to owe this camera company money. East Cleveland did not pay all that was due to the traffic camera company. Now this was before I became mayor.
Oh, no.
So stepping in we were faced with a debt to that traffic camera company. And in 2010, that debt got up to almost $2 million. So what do you do when East Cleveland owes a private company $2 million and it has made money? East Cleveland has made money off of that. We took all the money and didn't pay for the service. Almost $2 million we owed them. There was a point in those negotiations where that company was going to just sue us for $2 million and, while suing us, stop the program. Now, in many people's eyes, stopping that program, you say, good, that's fine. But stopping the program would have meant that there was no more revenue whatsoever. So the revenue stops, and East Cleveland owes the company $2 million. That's what almost happened. The reason why it was so important, one of the reasons why, a temporary reason, to keep that traffic camera program in place was certainly one, because of the safety. That's the most important thing. It has changed driver behavior. It has resulted in fewer citations over the years. There's less speeding. There's less red light running. We're safer from a traffic standpoint because of that program. And then there's other things it's been used for that Chief Spots will tell you about. A second reason, though, is because the revenue kept coming. And if the revenue kept coming, East Cleveland was able to pay back that company by switching the collection of the money from East Cleveland to that company until the $2 million balance was cured. Everybody get it?
Nope.
If that had stopped, East Cleveland would have had to dip into its own bank accounts, and we did not have and do not have $2 million to spare. And we would have had to cut police, we would have had to cut fire, we would have had to close this place down, we would have had to do a bunch of things. That's why all those layoff notices and saying that we would lose police, that program stopped, that was real as it gets. And as your mayor, I'll tell you, I was scared to death. Because I did not want to be in a city that was sued and didn't have any way to pay $2 million. But because you voted to keep it, I want to show you, and that the print's kind of small, but that company started receiving all the revenue for a period of time because we owed them $2 million, and in good conscience, I can't have the city steal from people. Amen? You can't be a mayor and have your city steal from people. That's stealing. If they perform the work, they perform the service, and there was an agreement for this city to pay them, if we don't pay them, that's stealing and it's illegal. We had to pay them. The way that we did it was we transferred all the collection to them for a period of time.
This camera's burning up.
I'm happy to report that we're 80% of the way there in terms of curing that $2 million balance. The city of East Cleveland has not paid to that traffic company anything. We haven't paid anything out of the city of East Cleveland to that traffic company. It's been all off the tickets because you allowed the program to continue. It allowed us not to lay off a single police officer, not to lay off a single firefighter, not to lay off a single service worker, not to close down the senior center, not to close down the Parks and Recreation Department, not to change anything because you voted to keep that program in place. In addition to having the company keep those things, we talked to the company about our financial status. And the financial status was tough. What we agreed to the company is they keep everything that gets mailed in to pay off the $2 million debt. In the meantime, everything that comes to City Hall's window to be paid, the city keeps. So while we paid off almost $2 million over the past year and a half to 2 years, we also, over that period of time, have contributed to our own general revenue fund nearly, am I reading that right, Mike? Is that $899,000? While we're paying off the $2 million debt that we don't have to give a single dollar to them for, we also collected nearly $900,000 from that program. So why did I go through these several minutes of explaining